story of the three magi that I just proclaimed has a certain charm to it that has captured our imagination over the years. And there have probably been various enlargements that have been added to this story to make it even more intriguing. But Matthew, writing that story, writing really years later after the death and resurrection of Christ, was writing out of a time when the Christian community was beginning to step outside of Palestine into the great world of the Roman Empire. And the question was, is Jesus and his message only for the Jews, or was it for all people? And I think Matthew used this story to reveal the teaching of Jesus was that there are no boundaries to his presence and that he welcomed all to come into faith. And so he used this story, and it was three kings who came, some of the first visitors to the crib scene, and they were not Jews. They were from a faraway land. It was a way of kind of saying that Jesus was available to all people. It continues to be a sign to us. We are ones who really have benefited from that because none of us, we come from various backgrounds, and yet right here in Mankato at St. John's, we live in a place and a time where Jesus is still present with us and very available to us. I would like to today just to reflect for a moment on some others who come really as foreigners, come to us from lands far away, and often maybe do not receive a very good welcome. We know that there are many immigrants who come to our country, actually over 1 million each year. And even though most of us come from immigrant backgrounds, many times we hear the attitude that we cannot let others come into our country. They will only make things worse for us. However, we know that if I take the local scene a little bit closer, most of the immigrants into the Mankato area and the Diocese of Winona are Hispanic people. We have 35,000 Hispanic people now in the Diocese of Winona. And our total population is 135,000, so they make up about a fourth of the Catholics here in southern Minnesota. And their median age is 23, which means that they are young and they have children. And it is really determined that in 10 years, probably they will become 60% of the Catholics in our diocese. We know already of parishes, there are a number of parishes that have already have 60% of their membership are Hispanic people. So the tone and the character of our diocese is changing. In how we have responded as a diocese is really an effort to build up our ministry to the Hispanic people, and Bishop Harrington has brought in, when he was still here, brought in 4 Spanish-speaking priests. That is their first language. We have a number of us local priests who have tried to study Spanish, but these 4 that is their first language. And we have Father Mariano, is of course here in Mankato, the pastor of St. Peter and Paul's. He is from Argentina, and he speaks Spanish. But a few months ago, Father Luis from Colombia was placed in Medelia and St. James at Tri-Parish Unit there, where there are many Hispanic people. And so he is here to serve really the deanery of Mankato and the Hispanic people here. We at St. John's are a bit isolated because the Hispanic Mass in town is at St. Peter and Paul every Sunday at 1 o'clock. And so those who come to worship mostly migrate to St. Peter and Paul. But I think it bears us today to really, again, check our own attitudes, because so easily we become harsh and judgmental. We may begin to think that these people should not be here, that they maybe are not very good people or whatever. We have those kind of strange ways of thinking. In the church, the bishops have been very clear and strong. Not that the church would ever support unlawful entry into our country or the disobedience of immigration laws, but that we do, as the church, uphold the right of immigrants to come for just reasons. And we would say those reasons are if there's terrible suffering in their life, extreme poverty and violence. And we know many of those who come are really just looking for an existence. And they are in places that really are horrendous and places that we would never want to support. So these days, certainly those immigration laws are before our country. It's been a tough battle. But as a church, and really I would encourage you to advocate for those laws so that we are able to provide a just way for the immigrants to enter our nation, and a way for them to earn legalization and status, and other ways really that can be accomplished in our country, so that receiving these brothers and sisters into our country would be more just and humane. It is this Feast of Epiphany reminds us that truly the faith is given to all. It is available to all. And in that sense, all of us are brothers and sisters, no matter where we come from or what our status is. So we rejoice in that gift given, and as we gather in faith today, we open our hearts to receive all who have that same gift of faith.